Jim, how good is Andre Dirrell?
Andre Dirrell, yeah, he's a very talented fighter, outstanding amateur, Olympic medalist, lost to Golovkin in the Olympics, and he disputed that as well. Undefeated as a professional, with the exception of one loss to Cole Frotch, which again is disputed. So yeah, he's an exceptional talent.
I was going to say he's only lost this to Cole Frotch as a pro. Split decision.
Yeah.
Was it a right decision though?
Well, you know what? Obviously, I've watched the fight back. I don't think it was controversial. I think it was, you wouldn't have moaned if it went either way. And being in Britain, that's what he's saying. That's why he wouldn't fight James in the UK. I know he's took a hell of a lot less money to box in America, and he feels that that's going to give him the edge. But I think he's trying to get the edge against the wrong person because he's got to realise with James, he's got a temperament like no fight I've ever known. His belief is total. His focus is absolutely 110%. And to tell the total truth, when he found out the fight was abroad, I was sleeping in his front room just chilling. He'd been for a training session. He come in, he was dancing, singing. And I said, "Chum, what's that?" He said, "Oh, you ain't heard." He said, "Eddie's lost a bid." I said, "What?" He said, "I'm going to America." It's sick. He goes, "I can't wait." He was so excited. So you ain't got to worry on that score with James. He said, "A ring's a ring." I couldn't agree anymore. And he's in a great place. He's in great shape. He's got momentum. And I think that's a massive plus in this fight going in. And James Degale will deliver, I'm pretty sure.
How much has Dirrell improved since that Carl Frotch fight? I think he's had 6 since then. Has he improved? I'm sure you've watched all of them, being the diligent coach that you are.
I've watched his whole career. I've watched lots of his stuff, amateur and pro. He is what he is. He's a trickster. He's predominantly a southpaw, but a bit like James, he switches to the opposite stance. He's quite effective in both stances. So we've prepared for that as well. He's mixed with the elite. He's mixed with Arthur Abrahams. He boxed Cole Frotch, and I think if there's a little deck against him at top level, I think it's the fact that, like a football team, like a football player, activity and momentum is very important. And
he was quite busy last year, though, wasn't he? Especially towards the back end. He had 3 fights in 4 months.
In football terms, he's playing Orient and
I was
Birmingham.
going to say, what did you make of the opponents?
You've got to step up and play Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and that's what he's doing against James. Now, if he can make that step, he can get up to speed quick, because he'll need to, then it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Both fighters had 3 fights last year. James was obviously against more stellar opposition in terms of Brandon Gonzalez and Periban. Those fights are what set him up for this big one, don't they? I mean, he's had a taste of the big stage, especially at Wembley last year. But this one here, this is massive.
Yeah, I mean, without them two, this one don't happen. So every fight you go into is massive. But James he's built momentum. That's what he's always needed. People haven't seen the best of James yet. He's getting better and better and better. And I think, Dirrell, as good as he is, and he's very good, and it's a step up for James again. But James is ready for the step. But what I'll say to everyone, and everyone who works with James will tell you the same thing, you don't realise how good he is until he's in front of you. And I think, from Dirrell's point of view, he's had a few fights, but this is his first real step up since the fight against Arthur Abrahams. So now he's stepping back into the Premier League, and it's whether he can deal with what he's going to have to deal with. A lot of people don't realise James is the highest punching super middleweight in the history of the sport. He's got highest punching.
Volume, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And to stay with James, you've got to be an exceptional athlete, not just a good boxer. And I don't know whether 4 years inactivity is the best way to become a great athlete in a boxing ring. You can do as many rounds as you like sparring. And if you look at his calibre of opposition since he's come back, he hasn't been boxing Periban, he hasn't been boxing Gonzalez. So, he's taken a big jump in against James Degale.
Are you surprised that he's taken so long for him to get to this point? Because he started before James. 2005, I think he turned pro. He's had a similar amount of fights, a couple of years older. Are you surprised that it's taken him so long to get to this level?
Yeah, he's been at the level, but as I say, he had to have a bit of time out after he came a cropper against Arthur Abrahams.
He didn't fight in 2012, did he?
He won that on a DQ,
yeah.
And then since that, I think that don't do a lot for your confidence. And then I think he's been trying to get his confidence back with the fights he's come back in. Shows by the level of the opposition, people like Edwards and that. No disrespect for James, they're 3-round jobs. They're not Peribans, they're not Gonzalez. And he's making a big jump. Whether he can make that jump, I don't know, because he's going to get hit with some heavy shots in this fight. I know he had issues with his brain scan before, and when we cross that line to fight, we're warriors. I've been there myself. I'm a warrior. We're soldiers. We're fighters. But ultimately we're human beings. And when he gets in with James Degale, and I've seen what he's doing to sparring partners, when he gets hit with them little gloves on, it'll be very interesting to see what goes on inside his mind.
Well, you mentioned that obviously James has fought all over the world and he was happy to take this fight wherever it was. A ring's a ring, but he's only fought abroad twice as a pro. I mean, some would say that's given him a sense of comfort. I mean, has he prepared for the job over there? And just, you know what it's like when you're away from home in a fight of this magnitude, all the tricks come out, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you know, from a physical perspective, he's done things that only he could do. I mean, he pulled a drill off the other day, which I defy any athlete to be able to do, with the exception of probably James Degale. But he's worked 6 years to get to this level of what he's doing physically. And on a mental status, sky's the limit, because you know his mental outlook is so positive. You know, he really is into it. He's got a great positive mental attitude to everything, and I just think he carries all the cards to go and win a world title. He's just he's in tremendous condition, which you can see. He's sparred a phenomenal amount of rounds. Technically, he's been brilliant with all the guys he's worked with, and we're just ticking the last boxes over the next couple of days. And when he gets out to America, he's basically ready.
You fought for a world title in your time.
Twice.
Twice, I know, mate. WBA, WBC. It's heartbreaking when you don't come through those fights in the way that you want. Coach, mentor, friend, you know, the man that you are, relationship you have with James, are you preparing just in case it doesn't happen? And when I say preparing yourself to help him just in case it doesn't come to fruition, because he's been up there before and tasted defeat. This is why I think he's going to win, but just in case, there's always two men strapping on gloves.
Yeah, listen, with James, he's for me, like, two things will summarise him winning a world title: loyalty and trust. Because we've had that in each other. He trusts what I do. He's been loyal to a bone, unbelievably loyal, unlike, you know, a lot of other fighters down the years. But I just think with James, he's a prestigious talent. He's an amazing talent, and you know, I've got to answer this question totally honest. I've got no doubt at all that he will become super middleweight champion of the world. Fact.
When he brings back that belt, then let's allow ourselves to look past this fight. I know it's you know, it's not the done thing, especially in your when it comes to you. But let's allow ourselves to look back. Who does he fight next?
You know what?
In an ideal world.
One thing I want to get out there and say, apart from creating history, if you look at the stats of every fighter that's ever boxed in the UK, he will be the most successful British fighter in the history of our sport. And domestically, there's big fights with Groves and with Frotch. And on the world stage, you know, you look at anyone like Arthur Abrams, you look at Andre Dirrell's brother, who's got the other WBC title. You know, there's lots of options. There's Arthur Abrams, you know, Kesler's, I know he's announced his retirement. Cole Frotch is still like a big name. So, you know, there's a lot of interesting matches. I think any fight they make out of the guys I've just mentioned, and many more in and around them in the ratings, they're all fantastic fights to get your teeth into. So I think once James wins this fight, from then on in, enjoy the journey, because like, people only realise how good James is whilst he's here, and he's a great fighter.
Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, man.